Hey guys, my name is Ethan, this is Carberra. Welcome to the series where I teach you how to build a Discord or pop-up for your server. Today we're talking about starboards, which have recently become a very popular feature in Discord bots. It seems that every single bot has a starboard feature nowadays. So we're going to be making our own, and we're also going to be utilizing a database to make ours a little bit more efficient. So if you come into our build.sql, we actually need to make a new table. So you've got create table if no exists, starboard, and then do that. And then we need to define three attributes. So the root message ID, as I'm going to call it, which is an integer and a primary key. The star message ID, integer, and also the number of stars, which is an integer, which should default to 1. What we're doing here is we are setting the root message ID. Now this is the message that was sent by the user that is then getting starred. The star message ID is the message sent by the bot in the starboard to display the message for all to see, and to see how many stars it actually has. And the number of stars is obviously the number of stars. So if a message gets added to the starboard, then it automatically has 1 star. So we just need to set like that. So then we come into reactions, and we're just gonna we come into our reactions cog. We're just gonna get rid of all this commented out stuff because we don't need it. And we're gonna make another element in we're gonna make another condition in on raw reaction add. So we're gonna say if payload.emoji.name double equals, and then we go into Discord. We get the star. Now you can either use star or star2. I don't think it matters that much. I've seen, I think Danny uses star2. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. We're going to use the normal star because it makes a little bit more sense. And then we're going to copy that and we're going to paste it in. This font displays the star in a quite weird fashion. I don't know if it does like that with every font, but you know, whatever. Or whether it's just Sublime's rendering of the star, I really don't know, but it's absolutely tiny, which is adorable little star. This is where things are going to be awkward because we do actually need to get the message object because we need to do some checks on the author. However, in raw reaction add, we can't just do payload.message. That's not a thing. That's not a thing we can just do. So we need to do message equals await payload, no, not payload, self.getChannel payload.channel id dot fetch message payload dot message id, and that will get the message that has been starred. So if we then come down here and say if not message .author.bot and message payload.member.id does not equal message.author.id, and we'll pass that for now. We'll do an else and a pass. So what we're checking here is to see if the message author is a bot, or more specifically if they are not a bot, because we don't want bot messages sorry, to end up on the starboard. And we're also checking to see if the member who reacted to the message is not the message author, because we don't want people to be able to put their own messages on the starboard. If one of these is the case, then we can just simply await message dot. I've actually got something in my throat. Oh Christ, I have no idea what that was. Message.remove reaction payloads payload.emoji. We actually did this last episode. I don't remember what it is. I think it's payload.emoji, payload.member. I think it's that way around. I'm probably gonna. Yes, I think that's right. I'm just trying to remember the error I got last time. So if it's wrong, then we're just gonna remove the mess. We're just gonna remove the star. If it's right, we then need to create the starboard message itself. So we're going to do this before we do anything in the database. So we're going to do an embed. We're going to, oops, that's not it. We're going to call it new, I guess we'll just like starred message or something. I don't know. Starred message. And then I guess we don't need a description really. And then we'll have the color equals the message.author.color. Because we want it to be the because why not? Basically is what I'm doing there. And then timestamp, I don't know, I'm pretty sure we haven't actually imported datetime. No, we haven't. .utc, UTC now. Oh my goodness, if I could type, there we go. Then we're going to come up here and do it. If from now on, if my typing is bad, I'm just going to blame it on my keyboard because the S key is broken. That is completely unfounded excuse and does not does not excuse that error. But I'm just going to use it because my keyboard is broken and I'm a bad workman blaming my tools. I've also imported the wrong thing because I'm distracted. I've been looking on Amazon for a new keyboard as well, and that I have a specific set of wants when it comes to keyboards. So I want like wireless. I was looking for wireless backlit keyboards and none exist. Literally none exist. The only one that I found before is not available, and the only other one is 80 quid and horrendously, it just looks awful. So I guess we'll see what comes of that, but I'll do some more research. But anyway, just keyboard problems aside, we need to create our fields. So we also, do we want to set like a header or anything? Probably not. So we want to create, we want to set the author, I suppose. Message, well, we could just put author. And then message, no, stop autocorrect entire. Message.author.mention, and then we want that to be not inline. And then I also need to turn off some of my socials. Give me a second. I always like to turn off WhatsApp and Steam before we get into it, so there's no distractions. But I forgot, yeah, because I was researching keyboards. Yeah. We also need the message content, which is message dot. Oh my god, message dot content, and then false, and then we also need to set the number of stars. Which is going to be 0 for now because we're going to do that later. But we're just going to put it in for the time being. And there is other stuff that we're going to want to do, but we just want to make sure that the system actually works. We want to send this to a self.starboard channel, which we're going to create. .send embed equals embed. I'm pretty sure I haven't missed anything there. So in the onReady, we're going to set a reaction message to that. We're also going to set starboard channel equals, we don't need to do that, self.bots.get channel, and then we need to create a new channel called starboard. We need to come down here. I'm going to move out to the top. There we go. It took a while there. Copy the ID, put it in there, and then this should now work. Just watch it error. This is like the most simple thing I've done in the series, more or less, and it will undoubtedly error. So okay, cool, that works. So if I say something, just realised I'm going to need my test account. Give me a second. Okay, cool. We have to remember that we can't star our own messages because that's bad. So if I say something funny, that's terrible. Leave me alone. And then I rewrite that with the star. We'll get an error. Oh, because I didn't do self.bot. Because I'm an idiot. Self.bot.get channel. There we go. I knew there'd be an error. It's the simplest thing in the world, and I managed to mess it up. So if you say something funny, again, this is a terrible joke. We give a star, it just gets rid of the reaction because we can't star our own messages. If we were to try and star a bot's message, it would do exactly the same thing. However, if my test account decides, oh, that's really funny actually, I'm going to go and star that, then we'll get an error because I suck. Because we haven't imported embed, because I forgot we needed to do that because this is basically a new cog. So from Discord import embed like that. And then we're going to get rid of that reaction. No, what I've done there is, it actually continues to get rid of reactions. That's pretty funny. So get rid of that, and then we just do the same thing again. So if my mouse would actually work. There we go. Now I'm blaming my mouse now. I'm the epitome of a bad workman. But start. We didn't have the fields to the embed, did we? Oh my god, it's like 10 PM. Leave me alone. I knew there was something I forgot. So this looks really. This looks like really short. In fields. Embed dot add field. Name equals name val. I wonder if you can get away with args here. I don't know. Inline equals inline. You probably won't be able to. If anything is more convenient than the Discord API doesn't do it that way, it's guaranteed. It's generally a pattern, really. Star. So if we get the star back, there we go. So we now have author Carberra, content something funny, stars 0. We can probably make the thumbnail a bit nicer as well, but for demonstration purposes, we're not going to bother doing that. So the other author here, which is me, I said something funny, and we have no stars because I haven't set the DB up yet. But instead, what we're going to do is, well, before we do the DB, we're actually going to set up how what happens if the message has any attachments to it or any images. So we can use our same system that we did for the mod. I can actually just bring this up, and we can use our same. I had to comment it out because while I was recording the videos, it was messing up everything in the server, which is really funny. But it should be yes. Any has that. There we go. So it's this we want. Yeah, it's that bit. So we can just copy that in here. So if any has actually a width for a in message.attachments. There we go. Goodness gracious. No, do not do a virus scan, computer, please. This is bad. So if any of our message attachments have a width to them, it should. Actually, we don't need to do a width, really, do we? We could, because I imagine all attachments have a URL. I'm going to go on the basis that every single attachment has a URL, and I hope it works. Because I really don't know. Really, you want to do some images. If this doesn't work, then we'll do an extra little bit for how for thinking, you know, counteracting that. It's 10 PM. Shut up. So if no message attachments, then we need to embed dot set attachment set image. Sorry, set image, and we're just going to set it to the first element because it's easier that way. And we're going to set that to the URL. So set image, and then yeah, message.attachment is the URL. There we go. Attachment 0.url, and that will set the image. So now, if we send an image, which I'm going to do real quick, give me a second. It's difficult to find a meme on my computer because I don't have memes on my computer or on my phone. But this is something I made for a friend as a joke. The cat march. Yeah, it was funny at the time I shot. So if my test account decides, oh, that was pretty funny, I can start that, and we get an error. God damn it! Set image takes one positional argument, but two, because the function is awful and we need to pass the URL over. Because yay! If we go back in here. And then we go, and my test account decides, oh, that's funny again. I still maintain that was funny. This field is required. Oh, because it hasn't got any content. That's a good point. Message.content or C attachment. In theory, I don't know. I don't know if it's an empty string or not. So we're gonna find out. Well, that worked, isn't it? It is just it is a none. There we go. So C attachment, and then we have our attachment here. So now that we've got our image working as well, so we can now send images to the starboard. We can just say C attachment. Yeah. So if the content is none, it just none. So the or is basically, oh, if this is none, then use this. You can actually use message content or none, and that will work fine. But yeah. Okay, so now that we have the actual starboard message sorted, and now that it handles images as well, we actually need to work out how many stars the message has. So we can do stars equals db.field, because we're going to be getting the number of stars in db. Select stars, stars from starboard. If I could spell, there we go. Where there's an S in that word, it's down to that. Where be root message ID, wouldn't it? Root message ID equals this, and then we need to pass in the message ID, or 0. So basically what this will do is it will attempt to grab the number of stars of the message in a database. However, if there are no stars, this won't exist yet. This will return none, and the number of stars will be set to 0. We do need to come up to the top, do that to work, and from .db import db. I have gotten a few people in my server getting confused at this part. If your database might be in a different place, it kind of depends if you've been following this series or not. But yeah, if it is in a different place, then this won't work. So just kind of try and work out what the relative imports are if possible, or do somewhat absolute imports if you like as well. So now that we have the number of stars, we can just set the number of stars in here, stars plus 1. And then we need to do, well actually we can probably just do a db call here as well. No, we don't. We actually want to do this slightly in a slightly different place. We actually need to do it here, not there, here. So we need to make sure that the message is valid first, then do the stars. Set the stars equals stars plus 1. If not stars, so if the number of stars is 0, we then send it. Else, we actually need to grab the message from it as well. So we can do. It's probably better if you do like the message ID as well, or like the message ID, and then do a db record. If that returns none, then we do a tuple of, I guess, none and 0, that'll work. So we do actually need to get the message ID because we do need to fetch the message. We do also need the number of stars. So we can just do that, record, record gets an entire record or a tuple, so we actually need to do root message ID here too. And then we need to move these onto a new line. Move that over. And then if this doesn't exist, it will still just return none, so we do none or and then set number of stars to 0, and that will automatically just unpack everything we need. And otherwise, we actually need to get the message itself. So the star message equals self or await. Oh no, we need to do the await needs to come after. Await self dot starboard channel dot fetch message message ID. Now if this star message no longer exists, then this will throw an error. Actually, it won't. It might. I don't know. If starboard is deleted randomly, this will throw a message not found error. When we do account for that, we're not going to bother doing that because the chances of a starboard message getting deleted are rather low. So after that, we need to await star message dot edit embed equals embed, and then we also need to set. So we do, if not stars, we can actually do the call separately. So we can do a db.execute insert into starboard values, and then this, and then this, and we need to pass in the message.id and the star message.id. So we actually need to get this message to send so we can add it to the database. However, if it's already in there, then we don't need to do that. We just need to update it. So we can do the db.execute update starboard set stars equals stars plus 1. We don't need to pass a number of stars in because it's more efficient to just do it in the SQL. Where root message ID equals, and then we just pass message ID into the .id. Cool. So if we load up our database real quick, db database.db, we should see our new table in there already. There we go. We don't need to download our new SQLite version. There it is, but there isn't anything in there at the moment. So we do want to get rid of this message here. We'll actually just clear this whole channel using S4, and then we'll reboot the bot up, like so. Actually, come to think of it, you probably didn't need to delete those messages, but whatever. And then we do, so say if I said something funny again, and my test account found it absolutely hilarious that it goes and reacts with the star, get a message in the starboard, will say it will do a bad thing. Has 3 columns but 2 values were supplied. But you have a default. Should default 1. Shouldn't that work? Oh, yeah. Because we're only inserting 2 values, not 3. We do actually need to specify which 2 columns we're inserting into. So we do root message ID and star message ID. Star message. Oh, apparently that doesn't exist anywhere in this at the moment. And then move this down to the line. There we go. So it actually knows which 2 columns to insert into now. So if we launch that again, we should now get a entry in our database. Starboard. There we go. Stars 1. There we go. So we have. Well, it actually did work before. So stars 1. And if we go into our database, wait for it to save. It should save. There we go. It just saved actually. There we go. So we have our root message ID, our star message ID, and a number of stars. If I were to, don't really know how to test this because I don't have another human profile to test it with. That's all good. Let me just get rid of the self-test and then or the self-check just to make sure that this adding up stuff works. Okay, so the bot is back running again. This will also test to make sure that the bot persists with this stuff during shutdowns and stuff. So we are expecting this message here to be updated. So if we do this, an error occurred. Why? Unknown message. I couldn't find it. Why could it find the message? Am I searching for the wrong message? Interesting. Have I got the wrong one? Oh, I got the wrong one. It's a star message ID. Oh, I'm actually upset, dude. I'm upset. Yeah, it's the star message ID, not the root one. Whoops, that's my bad entirely. I don't think that's going to mess with the database. All we need to do is turn the bot off and turn it back on again, and it should be perfectly okay with everything that just happened. Providing the number of stars don't go out of sync, so... Well, I suppose that doesn't really matter, but... It should now work. There we go, so yeah, stars 2. So we now have 2 stars. If we wait for the database to update, how long has it got? Oh, it's just done it. That's convenient timing. We now have 2 stars. So obviously we would need to add this check back. Bloody well delete it. What am I doing? We need to add it back. But that is a starboard system that does work. This will work. We never actually made sure to see if other types of attachments works. So we're actually going to do that real quick. Before I forget, let me find an attachment you can use. Oh, you can actually just attach the database. Screw it, why not? Just send the database in the chat. It's not sensitive data or anything. This is the Carberra database. It's the one with just the starboards in it before anyone freaks out. And my test account, that database is really funny. Database is really funny. It just does it. See attachment. Oh, it doesn't attach the attachment. Interesting. So it doesn't error. It just doesn't bother. Well, that's an interesting one. Well, seeing as it doesn't error, do we really need to fix it? I guess it's a bit more complicated. I guess you'd need to perhaps do this if len messages up, if len attachments up here somewhere. I'm not going to bother fixing that in this video. That could be a little extra for you to do. As I always say, these videos are designed as a guide and not as a final product. So the system, it does work, it does everything it's intended to do, so I'm just going to leave it because the video is getting pretty long. So that brings us to the end of this video. If you like the video, then say hello down below. If you have any questions or comments, then leave them down below as well, or you can join the Discord server using the link in the description below. If you really like the video, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss out on future uploads. And if you really like the video, then consider supporting me on Patreon. Of course you don't have to, but it'd be really cool of you to do. With that in mind, I would like to thank my super patrons Adam, Drea and Jackster for pledging the highest tier, and I will see you next time where we do reaction polls and stuff, which is sort of the same. It's the same kind of thing as this, but it is a little bit different. So I'll see you for that.